Well, hello. What is everybody up to today? Maybe I'll go this way. I wish we could go the other way. I'll try this way. Who we got in the house today? It's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts. As you can tell, I don't have any guitars with me right now, but that could change. Kind of just an impromptu, quick little video. Figured we'd just see what was going on, see what everybody was up to. I don't think we got anybody jumping in yet. Or maybe we do. We got 3 people. It says we got 3 people. Let's see. Am I sideways or do I have to be like this? Can't quite tell. If I gotta hold it this way, I don't know. That's not that big of a deal, I guess. Give it a minute, see if anybody jumps in. Such a nice day. I'm sure not everybody's just sitting around in the house on their computers or sitting around looking at their phones like I am. It says we got 3 people. Clayton James Hicks. Here we go. Now we're getting some people. Johnny. Clayton James Hicks. Today is Music Man Monday. Yes, it is. It certainly is. And Johnny Bean is here. Nice. Craig, what are you doing? You George Michael lookalike. It's Eddie Van Halen from the Balance Tour, dude. Hey, you guys got to tell me, is this okay or am I sideways when I do this? Sorry, you're going to have to put up with my nonsense. What's up, Rob? Hey, Chad, what's going on? Learning some songs for a gig. Okay, then I'll stay this way then. All right. Okay. I'm just home today. Well, I'm home now. I had to go to work this morning and check out some things. I had my buddy's Honda CBR 1000 2019 sport bike. I had that for the morning, so I was having some serious fun. I haven't ridden a sport bike like that since my last one I had like 20 years ago. Unreal. I love my motorcycle, but you ride those bikes and man, I'll tell you, man, it's not. I mean, you guys that ride motorcycle would know. They're so responsive. It's just so much different. It's fun. I mean, I don't know if I'd go out and buy another sport bike like I used to. My 150 mile an hour days are over. At least on the motorcycle they are. The lady situation, not so much, but. Simon Williams, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Hubs, no, I figured we'd just do a little hangout here. Whatever makes you feel better sideways. Craig, yeah, no, I'll stay this way so you guys don't have to see it. But no, everything was good. I had a good day today and I did a little grocery shopping and I'll be working a police shift tomorrow. And yeah, I just thought we'd go live and chat for a little bit, see what you guys wanted to talk about. I had a pretty good workout today. Got a nice cigar here. So you light this baby up. I love it when a plan comes together. Some of you older guys, my age, will know exactly what I'm talking about. Who can tell me who said, I love it when a plan comes together? And he would do this with his cigar all the time. Who was that? You guys got to know? You guys got to know? Now I got a cruiser, Craig. Yeah, me too, buddy. You and me got to do some riding. Who said I love it when a plan comes together? Craig, you got to know that. Johnny Bean, you got to know that. Hannibal Smith. That's right, Mike. That's right. John Hannibal Smith. Colonel John Hannibal Smith from the A-Team, the leader of the A-Team. The mastermind with a tan safari jacket and black gloves. Even in the hot of July, he still wore black gloves. You got to love that dude. Nothing ever got him. Nothing ever made him, off kilter or unbalanced. He was always cool. Didn't matter if they were going to be shot, put in front of a firing squad. He was just as cool as could be and have a little faith, Lieutenant. That's what he would always tell Faceman. And then you got B.A. Hey, sucker. What you say, fool? Johnny Bean. Yep, I love it when a plan comes together. Hubbard, you don't frickin' know. I have kids almost as old as you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Hubs, I know. You watch the reruns, right? Hubs knows what it is because when him and Al were out here a year ago, they bought me an 18 van. It's pretty cool, man. Hubs knows what the deal is. What kind of rifles did they use? Well, in season 1 they used M16A1s, which did not have the forward assist, and the top carry handle was just a little bit different. It was one of the earlier styles. The A1s were what they used in Vietnam, and I think they had the fork fire flash suppressors. And then in season 2, they started using factory Ruger Mini 14s, stainless steel rifles with the factory folding stocks, which I have 2 of them. They were not full auto machine guns. They were not. The A-Team, sometimes they would use like the M60s and the big guns, they would use full autos, but they're Ruger Mini 14 stainless steel rifles with the big stainless 30, 40 round mags. Those were semi-automatic, and they just would use automatic fire for the sound effects. But those were semi-automatics. I have 2 of them myself with the original factory folders, and I have a full auto Mini 14, a Ruger AC556. The AC556 stands for automatic carbine and 5.56 caliber, or whatever you want to call it, 223, 556. There is a slight difference, but we'll just go with that. But that's what they used. And because the AC556 has a little selector switch on it for 3-round burst, semi-auto, and full auto. And if you guys check out a couple of my YouTube pages, you'll see. Yeah, I love the Mini 14s, man. And those guns have been around. Bill Ruger was making them back in '75, I think, when the Ruger Mini 14 made its debut. And they're still cranking them out now. The barrels on them are a little bit heavier, so they can take a little bit more sustained rapid fire. Yeah. George Peppard, that's it, Johnny. He is still to this day my favorite actor. I love George Peppard. He died in '94 from pneumonia. He was only 64 years old. He died back in 1994. It's kind of too bad. But Dirk Benedict, who played Faceman, Templeton Peck, Lieutenant Templeton Peck, he's still alive. He lives out in Montana. Dwight Schultz, who played Howling Mad Murdoch, he's still alive. He does a lot of voiceovers and video game stuff. They all live out in your neck of the woods, Johnny. Well, actually, no. Dirk Benedict has a house in California, but he lives in Montana. And Mr. T, he's still around. Don't really know what he's doing that much. He was on some commercials and stuff like that. But Craig, you come into the Big Bash at the end of the month to bring something special. Yeah, that's at Pete's house, right? Yep, I'll be there. Yep. Yeah. So, anyways, just like I said, I'm just sitting out here enjoying the nice afternoon. It's kind of muggy here today, not too bad though. I just chilling out and thought I'd just go live for a couple of minutes. I don't really have any guitars to show, but Jimmy Carr, what's going on, dude? What's going on? I'm going to do the Frankenstrat show, the Frankenstein, I should say, show probably this week, maybe this weekend when I get some time. And I'm going to compile a bunch of pictures from day one, or as close to day one as I can find, when the guitar was either black or sunburst. And then when it got the first stripe job, the different necks, we'll try to go over. And we'll try to just nail everything down as best we can. And then bring it right up to today. The status that the guitar is in today as it sits in the Met in New York City, and a lot of you guys have seen it. Craig, I'd be interested to. I'm going to go see it myself, probably a few times before October when it leaves. But I'd be interested to see what your thoughts were of it. They always say looking at something in a magazine or a picture is totally different than seeing it up close, and I can certainly relate to that. But yeah, we're going to knock that show out real soon. And got my Tommy Hilfiger t-shirt on. And yeah, so it should be pretty cool. After that, I'm going to do a fitness show for any of you folks out there that are looking for like a 15 to maybe 20 minute workout. No weights needed or anything like that, just total core stuff. A 15 to 20 minute, not even 20, probably say 15 minute workout. You could do it up in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, at lunch break if you got 20 minutes, whatever. All you really need is a quiet place to sit, and maybe about a spot, 10 by 10 maybe, 10 feet by 10 feet or bigger. And I can give you guys a real good like I said, fitness workout you could do every day or 5 days a week. That'll definitely start getting you on the right track if that's something you're looking to do, or you're looking to get your core stronger, your shoulders, your chest, your midsection, legs, anything like that. And we'll even add some flexibility stuff in there too. Brad Miller, how you doing, bud? Yeah, Craig, I saw that, man. Oh, I gotta say, for about 5 seconds, I was like, oh, dude, that sucks. And then I was just like, dude, that is the coolest freaking thing, because it broke exactly where the original 5150 did. So you can now have the only Stealth 5150 7th tuner. And if you really want to do it upright, talk to Mark Blankenship and have him get you a Schaller double tab for the 6th peg, and then just move that down to the bottom and drill your hole through the Kramer logo. Dude, that was so cool. I mean, it sucks. I know. It totally sucks. But you make so many guitars now. I mean, it's nothing for you to do up another neck like that if you ever wanted to. But that is freaking cool as hell. I'd dowel it, I'd drill it, I'd glue it, and I'd put it back together, and I'd, without a doubt, do that 7th tuner. That is just, that's going to be badass, and that's pretty cool. I think it's awesome. So I think it was an opportunity in the end. But so yeah, we'll do the Frankenstrat show, and should be pretty fun. We'll be talking about a lot of different stuff. We even talk about when it was in the OU812 video, and the different work that it had when the bridge was, redoweled because the intonation was off, and yeah, so we'll do that. And like I said, we'll do the fitness video, and then we'll do some other fun stuff, and we'll get back to the guitars and the tours and stuff like that. My guitar collection right now is pretty much, I hate to say done, because it's never done. I mean, you can never have that many guitars, guns, or girls. I mean, you can always have more of those, right? The 3 Gs. And God, of course. That should be number one. But as far as my Kramers are concerned, it's kind of funny. I really don't have I don't know, man. I just don't. I'll put the phone down here for a little bit so I can see you guys. There we go. And we can just kind of chat like this. It's a little bit better. It's funny. I really don't have the desire. Well, it's not even the desire. I really don't have I really could care less at this point about any more Kramer guitars. The Stripe Kramers, I'm saying. Paul Glover, how you doing, bud? Just a little impromptu hangout here. Nothing big. Just hanging out here, having a stogie, enjoying the nice weather. Stogie with a drink. The famous cup, although I'm using blue today. But I don't know. I just I got the 5150, the 1984, the Kramer ad guitar, the Neptune guitar, the Hot for Teacher guitar, the 85 Hard Rock giveaway guitar, the double neck Kramer yellow one. Oh gosh, what else? The 918V backup 5150. Oh, and well, it's not really a guitar, but the wall hanger, the what do you call it? The auction guitar. And the reason I didn't make that a real guitar was because I'm like, what am I gonna do with another real one? But again, that's probably gonna hang on the wall. Oh, and the multicolored tape guitar. And then the real Kramers that I have. So, doing up a more striped Kramers, I'm not going to say, never say never. They are cool. I love them, and they're probably my favorite Eddie Van Halen guitars, the striped Kramers, the 5150, obviously, normally. But, and having the Circles guitar, and the Rude, and the Rasta, and the Frankenstrats, both versions, trying to think what else. Just in all the guitars that I have, I don't really... There's not really any Van Halen guitars right now that I'm looking at that I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta have that. Maybe the Dragon Snake. I could see doing a Dragon Snake sometime, because that is cool. But I don't know. I'm kind of. I love the Van Halen guitars, and all my signatures. I got 2 Ernie Ball Music Men, the green one and the amber. And I got 3 PV Wolfgangs, and then the 2 EVHs, the Tour Relic and the Stealth. And I don't know. I'm kind of happy with what I got, but there is one guitar I would like to get. I have a Strat, and I do have a Les Paul. Well, it's a Chibson, but it's still a Les Paul. I would like to get I want to get a Telly. I would like to get a Relic Telly, and it doesn't have to be like a $6,000, $10,000, $20,000 Relic Telly. I think I'd be happy with just the Chinese Relic and then just put some new pickups in it, give it a fret job. Because I'm telling you, some of those Chinese guitars, man, yeah, you can strike out with them, but you can also hit it really big with those guitars. So I'm really thinking, maybe a Tele, and then, see what else happens. I'm at the stage right now that I really want to start enjoying some of the guitars that I have. I got so many guitars right now that I really don't get a chance to enjoy them all. I mean, I enjoy them all, but I want to start just taking some time, like, okay, for a month, I'm going to play this Music Man. This is going to be my only guitar I'm going to play. I'm going to just play this. And then, okay, I'm going to play the 5150, or okay, I'm going to play the Stealth. And I try to do that. But there's a whole bunch of guitars that I don't even use, So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Daniel Greco, hello, my friend. Anywhere I can find, or where I can find an Amber Music Man EX like you have. Thank you. Well, yes. Continue to check eBay, Dan, because they are on eBay, and that's ultimately where I've got most of mine. And Reverb. Reverb and eBay is where you're going to find them. Most of them come out of Japan, and a lot of them are still over there. If you get on and I don't know what the website is, but the Ichibachi website, there's another one, Kaiden, Show Kaiden or something like that. I forget the name, but if you get on the Ichibachi website in Japan, they have a bunch of EXs. Most of them are amber, and if you end up getting one like I did, like a high-end version, which was one of the companies that was making the EX back, when they started doing it in '96, right when Music Man stopped making them in the States, and then they shipped the parts over to Japan, and then Japan kind of took over because there were so many orders to be filled for the Eddies, and we'll talk about that for a couple minutes. But yeah, check Reverb, check eBay. They are on there. I don't want to say unfortunately, I've been lucky, Dan, but most of your EXs, unless you happen to get lucky finding someone that is selling one over here, most of your EXs are going to be, they're going to be coming from Malaysia, Japan, China, because that just seems to be where most of them are. I got my green one from Malaysia. But if you get them on eBay or Reverb, and you do the PayPal thing, at least you have the insurance that 90% of the time you're probably not going to get screwed. And if you do get screwed, the reimbursement deal is a little bit better. But that's what I would check out. Because they are out there. They are out there. And you're probably going to pay anywhere from, you used to be able to, a few years ago, pick them up for, $800. I used to see them for $7, and that's because nobody knew what they were. They thought they were just copies, but they're not. They're real Music Man guitars. They're real original Eddies, essentially. And but now they're running anywhere from, I can't even find them at 11 anymore. Anywhere from like 13 to 16, maybe 17, but yeah, like Johnny says, search Yahoo Auctions. Yes, that's another one, Johnny. Good, yeah, for sure. Yep, definitely. Johnny's got a good time. But yeah, just got some good stuff there. Just, yeah, Mully is the man, too. And I didn't want to throw Mully's name out, but he's one of the guys that helped me get my Amber one. And Mully's a resource, and he can at least keep his eyes open for you. But, yeah, Dan, let us know how you make out, for sure. So since we're talking about those EX guitars, just a little bit of information on them. So because there still is a lot of misinformation out there, and Johnny and Dave and myself and Jay and a whole bunch of other folks and Mully, of course, have tried to kind of clean that information up over the years. But here's the deal with the EXs. First off, if you go back to 1990, 1991, Music Man was making Eddie Van Halen's first signature guitar, and it was the Ernie Ball Eddie Van Halen Music Man, which is what we know, right? Amazing guitars, great guitars, very collectible guitars. I've owned about 4 of them over the years, and I love them all. I actually had one that was, well, you know how you pick up a guitar, and we've talked about this before? How can you get in touch with him? Get in touch with him on Facebook or Messenger, Dan. Just search Mully and you'll find him on Messenger. And he is on Facebook, and you'll know he's the dude. one, you know how you pick up a guitar and you hit a chord and it's like, oh yeah, this is a great guitar, but it just doesn't have that magic. And then you pick up another guitar and you hit a note or a chord or you're playing and it just rings out loud and it's got that just majestic-y kind of a feel and sound, and you're just like, oh yeah. And it almost plays by itself, you know. Well, I had a couple like that, and I had a couple that were like, meh, okay, not bad. Good guitars. I mean, the quality on all of them was great because their QA standards were pretty consistent. But I now have two EXs, all right? And I've owned a few EXs over the years prior to the two that I have now, and I always loved them. But I never really knew what the deal with them. So Music Man's making the Eddie Van Halens. They did it for about 5 years, from 1990, and then the last Music Man, Eddie Van Halen, rolled out of the Music Man USA factory in September of '95. That's when the last one rolled out. And yeah, you can just tell them we referred them to you. Yep. Dan. So what happened was, and then in the U.S. they started making, a lot of you guys know this, but in the U.S. they started making the Axis guitar, which was basically the same guitar body shape. Pretty much the neck was similar. The profile was a little bit different on the neck. It was still asymmetrical, but it was a little bit fatter of a neck, people say. I never really noticed that. I did own one Axis before. And that was a great guitar. They moved the toggle switch from the bottom horn up, you know, on the other side of the volume knob, tone knob. And speaking of that, they started putting volume on there, not tone anymore, like Eddie had. And on the back of the body, where it, you know, hits your chest, they had a belly bevel. They call it like a bevel, like a Strat would have, so it kind of fits in the midsection a little bit better, which Eddie never had. He always had flat. And they were great guitars. And other than looking at the toggle switch, you really didn't know. I mean, that's how you can tell. It's the easiest indicator. But then again, also on the headstock, they took off the EVH signature and they said Axis. So that's what they started making. And they're still making those guitars today. Boy, it's a good cigar. It's Honduran. It's not Cuban, but my buddy gets me these. Oh, they're incredible. So what happened is Music Man had such a huge order or waiting list, order list, whatever you want to call it, of Eddie Van Halen Music Man guitars. What's up, Leon? And they couldn't fill them anymore because they just weren't making them anymore. Most of these orders were Japanese orders, because you got to remember, the Japanese people, they just love Van Halen probably more than we do over here in the States, and they always have. And that's why if you look at the Young Guitar magazines, the Player magazines, the Music Life magazines, they dedicate magazines and books to Van Halen. They've been doing it for years. They have and have always had the best gear pictures of Eddie's guitars. We didn't even know what half of the backs looked like until the Young Guitars and the Player mag started coming out with these Van Halen books, and they've been doing that for years. Whereas the Americans, they just take pictures of the band and maybe a guitar here and there, but they're not looking at from a gear perspective like we are. And the Japanese always did, and they were making striped replicas of Eddie's guitars for years, and they could get away with it because they were over in another country. So back to the Music Man thing. PV Wolfgang's with Eddie now, and they're putting out PVs, and everybody's on the PV ball, everything and whatever, and Japanese companies are getting the PV Wolfgangs too. But there was still a huge market and waiting list for Music Man guitars. So the way that I understand it, and this is a conversation that I had with not only with Mully, but also with a couple of folks that one of them that still works with Music Man, and a couple of them that used to work for Music Man. There were Japan approached Music Man, and they said, we have this massive amount of orders we would like to fulfill, and we would like to build the Music Man Eddie Van Halen guitars over here, and we're going to keep it exactly the same as the specs of what the guitar has been, but we'll just take the signature off the headstock and we'll call it the Axis EX. Now I used to know what EX meant. Means excellent is what I call it, because it is an excellent guitar, but I'm not 100% sure. But they called it the Axis EX, and Music Man agreed. So basically what happened was, in the beginning, Music Man shipped a whole bunch of bodies and necks and parts over to Japan. And the Japanese basically opened up 4 small Music Man, official Music Man shops. One of them was High End Guitars, which is what mine is now, and there was 3 other ones, Condo Show or something. I can't remember. Like I said, I keep trying to remember what it was. It's right on the tip of my tongue too, but it doesn't matter. And 3 other shops, and they were all Music Man shops, and they were all basically doing the same thing, and they were making Eddie Van Halen Music Man guitars, just taking the signatures off. And they basically used up the last remaining EVH bodies, and then they would basically just make new bodies and necks, all right? But they were making them to the exact same specs as what they were made here in the States, okay? People say, well, they have a veneer top on them and they're not maple capped. That's not correct. Yes, they have a veneer top on them, but I'll tell you what it is from right now. The Music Man Axis EXs, when they ran out of the original Eddie Van Halen bodies, which mine I think has an original Eddie Van Halen body, what they would do is they would do exactly what Music Man would do, or Peavey. They would go out and get these basswood bodies, and then they would get a maple cap, maple top. Now, they might not always be book-matched maple tops, okay? But they were maple tops. Now, the book-match tops are going to be the ones that have the nice curly, crazy, quilty-looking patterns to them, or the flame, depending. And then what they would do is, if it had a book-match maple top, they wouldn't have to do anything to it, but they still would. And if it had kind of a meh maple cap, they would put a veneer, paper-thin, like a cap over the maple top. And that's why they had, most of the EXs have these insane-looking quilt tops to them, okay? So they are exactly the same body, except they have a veneer top over the maple cap, all right? So everybody's like, well, they don't have maple caps. They do have maple caps. They have maple caps and a veneer top. And quite frankly, I don't know why Music Man didn't do that, because why not? It looks incredible. So you still have the same tonal qualities, because both bodies, Music Man original, well, I can say Music Man USA and Music Man Japan, they are both basswood bodies, maple caps, or basswood bodies, maple caps with a thin veneer top on it. So that's the difference. The necks are exactly the same. They're maple necks made to the exact same specs, and all the parts that they use for the EXs are original parts shipped from the US, because all the parts were the same. So same exact tone control, same exact pickup switch, same pickup, same exact DiMarzio tone zones and the Air Nortons in the neck, and the same exact Ernie Ball Music Man Goto bridges. Everything is the same. So there's no difference. And people didn't know that for the longest time, all right? People thought, well, these EXs are cool guitars, and they say Music Man on them and everything, but they're not real Music Man. They're just Japan, making these fakes. They weren't. They were real Music Man guitars. And they are real Music Man guitars. And they are original Eddie Van Halen guitars. Only difference is they have a veneer cap over their maple cap. So they sound the same. And anybody that says they don't sound the same, I just don't think their ears are working, or they got to clean some wax out of them or something, because they sound the same to me. And they're great guitars. So right now, I only own a green one, and I own an amber one. And I have no ambition to get another Eddie Van Halen signature Music Man, because the ones that I have are original Eddie Van Halen Music Man guitars. And they play just as good as the USA versions, because they basically are the same, with the same parts. So that's the deal on the EXs. But back to Dan, just keep your eyes open on actually Facebook too. I just actually saw an amber one on Facebook. Someone was selling back like 3 weeks ago, an EX. If you're really into the collectible phase and you absolutely have to have an EVH, that's cool. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. because from a collector standpoint, yeah, the EVH is definitely going to be worth a little bit more money. If you are looking for a beautiful playing guitar that is a real Music Man, okay, but it doesn't really have to say EVH on the headstock. If it just says Ernie Ball Music Man, then get the EX, because, guys, I'm telling you, the same guitar. What I did with my green one was I gave it to Craig, Guitar Wannabe, CHS Guitars, and I'm going to give Craig a little plug here, buddy. I don't know if you're still watching my show, but my green one had a little bit of a fading issue on it when I first got it. The guitar was great, and it played amazing, but I wanted it to really pop with that emerald green look to it, you know? So what I did was, I talked to Craig, and I'm like, hey, dude, can you put a new top on this? Or, you know, just like sand it down and re-dye it. And Craig can answer you a little bit better exactly what he did. He's done a bunch of them now, and he's pretty much a master at it. And I said, also do the headstock and put a new logo on it and add an EVH signature to it so it looks like the real deal. All right, because on Eddie's green one, he did have an EVH signature on it. On my amber one, I didn't do it because Eddie's original amber didn't have an EVH signature, and I'm all about accuracy. That's what I try to do with mine. So my amber one doesn't have it, and I'm going to keep it that way because I like it that way. But Craig did a kick-ass job on my green one, re-topped it, or I should say, you know, re-dyed it, sealed it, clear-coated, whatever you want to say, and he redid the headstock too, and you literally cannot tell the difference. You would think that it's an original green Music Man. Well, let me rephrase that. It is an original green Music Man. I keep saying that, and I got to stop myself. You would think it's an original EVH USA because he did such a kick-ass job on the headstock. If I shut my mouth, my cigar wouldn't keep going out. But then again, you guys wouldn't be watching my show, right? All right, so let's see. Leon says, was there a retail price difference? What do you mean, as far as what? I'm sure you're talking about the EXs, but what do you mean a retail price difference? Price difference where? While I'm waiting for you to respond, when they first came out, and of course, you know, U.S. dollars versus yen over in Japan is a little bit different, but it's kind of close. The conversion isn't that far off. I think you could pick one up for like $700-800. Which was, you know, significantly cheaper. American, $700-800 American, which was significantly cheaper than, you know, paying for a real EVH USA. The USA and the Japanese bill. Okay, yeah, absolutely, there was a difference. The USA Eddies. And you got to keep in mind the Axis EXs were not made during the time that the USA Eddies were made, because Axis EX started production after EVH Music Man shut down in '95. And then in October of '96 is when all the permitting got pulled and everything got blessed off and signed and agreements. And then Japanese folks started making the original EX guitars, which they were a real Music Man company, but just over in Japan. So yeah, the USA's, Johnny Bean actually got his original Music Man amber. I think it's a quilt top or a flame. I don't remember if it's kind of a quilty flame when I've seen Johnny's, but Johnny's got an original '92, I think, and he must have bought it almost brand new because I think that's when he bought it. But correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, if you're still watching. Back in the day, the Music Man EVHs were going for, the USA EVHs were going for $1,300, maybe $1,400. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, so $1,300-1,400 around there. And the Axis EXs you could pick up for $700, maybe $800. All right. But they were the exact same guitar to a T. Only difference was there was no signature on the headstock. That was literally it. So, you know, the question comes, and I don't want to get into a big debate, and I certainly don't want to piss anybody off, but, you know, it's no different than folks saying, well, actually, it is a little bit different. I was going to use the argument of, okay, well, I have a Ford or I have a Chevy. It's an American-made car. Well, I have a Toyota, Honda, or Subaru. It's made, you know, in Asia. What's better? Well, I got my opinion. I'm sure you guys got yours. You know, it, I don't know. That's not exactly an accurate um, um, example of what I'm talking about, because those are two totally different vehicles with different parts. They both have their qualities, and obviously they both have their downfalls. The difference with this situation is all the parts that the EXs were used with, all the hardware was coming from the States, from USA Music Man. And a lot of the necks and bodies came from the USA too. And when they ran out of those, they made them to the exact same specs. Like I said, basswood bodies, maple caps, but they just put a veneer top on them. The necks were the same thing too. Everything was done exactly the same way. Because you got to remember, even though they were being made in Japan, Music Man had their name on it. Music Man they were Music Man guitars, and they had Music Man's authorization to build these. So they still follow the same quality control procedures, and that same thing. That's why these guitars are so good. Now you could say, well, okay, but what about Peavey? When Peavey came out, they made the USA standards, which I have two of them. I have a purple one and a red one. They're great guitars. I've owned many of them over the years. And then they made the specials, USA specials, great guitars too. But then they started making these Indonesian ones, all right? I think they kind of sucked. They had Grover tuners. They didn't have Schallers. The pickups were a little bit different. The bodies weren't made the same. They were good guitars, but they weren't up to the specs of the USA versions. Now that's, in my opinion, when the Eddie Van Halen style signature guitars started going downhill, when they went to alternate locations overseas to build their specials. However, I only am talking about the Indonesian Peavey Wolfgangs. I'm not talking about the specials in the USA. Now, if we jump to EVH and you're looking at the Japanese and Chinese specials they're doing, and the standards, those are good guitars. They are good guitars, and I think their quality control is a lot more up to par than what Peaveys were with their Indonesian guitars. So again, you can get a great Indonesian Peavey Wolfgang special. You can get a great one. Then you can get one that just literally sucks ass. So got to run to Safeway and get something to eat. Have a great day, everyone. Rob ZVA. Thanks, Johnny Bean. Take care, buddy. We'll chat soon. Leon, later, Johnny. Yep, take care, buddy. We'll chat soon. I got to give you a call soon, Johnny. I got to talk to you about something. Nothing bad, good stuff. But yeah, so those are pretty much the signature stories. And always the question comes up. Always. I hear it all the time, whether I'm on Johnny's show or I'm doing mine or just talking to you guys. People message me. What's the best one? What's the best guitar? Peavey, EVH, Music Man. Some days I have an opinion, and then others I don't. They all are awesome guitars. They just nailed it. Each guitar is a little bit different. The Ernie Ball Music Man neck profile is basically a digitized electronic duplicate of Eddie's Kramer 5150 neck. And a lot of people say, well, Wolfgang did the same thing Peavey did. No, they didn't. The Peavey Wolfgang neck is completely different than the Music Man guitar. It's much fatter. Much fatter. So if somebody forces me into a corner and say, what's the best, I'm always going to go with Ernie Ball Music Man. It's just, and I think some of it might be a biased comment because, or opinion. I just love the body style. I love the body shape, and don't get me wrong, the EVH Peavey, I should say the Wolfgang shape, I love that too. It's amazing. Something about the Music Man just is it looks like a It looks like an amazingly, beautifully attractive lady. It really does. That's what I see when I see an Ernie Ball Music Man. The necks on those guitars are to die for. They really, really, really are. I love everything about it. I like where the toggle switch is. The one thing I hate about the Wolfgangs, I hate the toggle switch up top. I don't have any idea why Eddie moved that. If anything, when you're tapping or you're doing hammer-ons, I'm always hitting the freaking thing up here. Down here, it was way out of the way. I mean, nobody's reaching under the body like this doing it. How the hell are you going to hit that? Even when you're up underneath the neck doing this kind of stuff or this kind of stuff, it's out of the way. Why would you have moved that? I don't understand. He literally just, I don't know. It's like unhooking your dog from a leash and putting him out in the middle of the road. It's right in the way. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I still love the guitars. So if I had to make a call, I would say Music Man. All right. The Peaveys, something about those necks too. I love those necks. They're fat, they're thick. They almost feel like the Frankenstein guitar, with a big, fat, thick profile. And the EVHs, I love those too. Don't get me wrong, the EVH necks are awesome, especially the maple ones. I prefer the maple necks they have on the Stripe Series guitars. Those are really pretty cool. I got a couple Stripe Series guitars too, and the necks on them they're great. But I also like the Stealth neck and my Tour Relic neck with the ebony board and the stainless frets. They're just super fast. They're smooth. It's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's kind of like, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? Well, we had meatloaf last night, and it was really good. But I really don't want meatloaf tonight. Let's have steak, or let's have hot dogs, or whatever. It's kind of, for me, it just depends. I mean, some days I'm in a Music Man mood. Some days I'm in an EVH mood. Some days I'm in a Peavey Wolfgang mode. And other days I just can't wait to grab one of my Kramers or my Frankenstrat or whatever, They're all great guitars, and they all have their own personality, I guess, and they're all a little bit different. But if I had to only have one signature guitar, let me say this. If you had to tell me, okay, all 34 or 5, whatever guitars I have, you can only keep 2, you got to get rid of all of them. My 5150, I would keep. And my Amber Music Man, I would keep. And I'd give them all away. And that includes my Steinberger GL2T Trans-Trem. I love that guitar, don't get me wrong, but that would be out the window. I would keep my Music Man Amber EX and my 5150. Primarily because I just love the style of them, but also because they're just amazing playing guitars. Are you getting splinters? I got a great Indonesian Wolfgang standard. Nice, awesome. Yeah, there are some good ones out there though, dude. Seriously. And you're very welcome, Dan. Alan Ford, I can't believe he changed the neck profiles so much because usually guitarists have their preferences and stick to forever. I agree with you, honestly, Alan. I do. Scar went out again. I absolutely do. I agree with you. Eddie was funny. He's changed so much. Hey, Dave, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, my man. Roll back the tape when we're all done. We talk about some cool stuff. We're just hanging out, just talking about guitars and signature guitars. But yeah, Alan, I agree with you. Eddie changed his profiles a lot. If you go back, it's kind of funny. Let's look at something here for a second. Let's look at his guitars, and then let's look at his amps and to include his sound. Okay. So you go back to day one. Eddie preferred a fat neck. He liked the big fat Frankie style necks, and he really loved those Dan Electro style necks. If you go back to, it's hard to say what he liked before the '78 tour, but if you go back to the first tour, Eddie was playing the Black Explorer with the Dan Electro star neck on it. There's pictures of that. Now that Black Explorer became the Snake Dragon guitar, and then that Dan Electro neck ended up getting taken off and being put on the Star guitar, and numerous neck changes back and forth. But Eddie was still, back in those early days, he was kind of prone to, he was prone to a Strat style body, because he just liked the feel of the Strat style body. Obviously, he wanted the bar with a tremolo, and he liked the bigger profile necks. And then right up through Frankenstein, you know, he was using those bigger neck profiles. And his sound was, you know, it was Marshall based, and he was using his Echoplexes and his MXR flanger. We all know the sound. Now we get up to early 80s, 81, 82. 80 moves over, shifts over to Kramer, right? So he's playing the Kramer ad guitars, and he's playing, you know, he builds his 5150 and the guitar 5150 and 84s and all the Kramers. Now he takes a shift, like you're talking about. He's still sticking with maple necks. I mean, he did like rosewood necks, you know, with the Dan Electro necks back in those days, but primarily maple was his favorite. Unfinished maple necks. And he goes to the Kramer 5150, which is a very, very much different profile feel. It's a lot smaller, a lot more narrow. I guess, you know, with me, I have, you know, thick, fat fingers, but I pretty much primarily have small hands. You know what they say about guys' small hands, though, right? Which means I like the Frankie necks, the big profile necks and the Wolfgang necks, but I prefer a smaller neck, you know. It's easier for me to play, I guess you could say, you know. So he switches, and he's with Kramer all those years, and he's got the smaller profile necks, right? And then he goes to Music Man, and he keeps the same style neck, right? Because the Music Man necks were based off of the profile of the Kramer 5150. But what does he do with his sound? Totally changes it, right? He started getting away from the Marshall towards the end of the 80s and getting into he started loving the Soldanos, the Soldano amps. He just loved that sound. And he was getting into the Eventide harmonizers a little bit more. He was getting into that kind of processed, detuned type sound. So when For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge comes out, we're hearing the Soldano amp with a little bit of the 5150. They were still kind of finalizing the 5150, but Eddie had the prototypes, I'm sure. And the 5150 PV amp is nothing more than just a hot-rodded Soldano, in my opinion. Not even hot-rodded. It's based, I mean, as a matter of fact, I remember the days when Soldano was really pissed at PV because, you know, they're like, oh, they stole their circuit for the 5150. And yeah, I think Eddie did. You know, I think he loved the Soldanos, and then he decided he wanted to have his own amp. So he comes out with the Music Man guitars. Neck profile is the same, but the sound changes. He's going through a phase, right? 93, 94, 95. He's still got that same kind of sound. He's got that big process sound. He's using the 5150s. Now he's looking at coming out with a 5152 version, which jumps us up into 98. And 1995 comes, and he basically says, okay, I'm just going to go with PV for my guitars too. A lot of speculation on why that happened, but let's just say that Music Man couldn't keep up with, you know, with the demand for the guitars. And quite frankly, whatever you want to believe why he left, there's, like I said, there's a lot of rumors out there. But I will say one thing. In the 5 years that they put out the Ernie Ball Music Man guitar, hey, guitar collector, how you doing, bud? Hail Face, what's going on, bud? Hang on one sec, I'll answer your question. When Music Man was building those guitars in that 5-year stretch from 90 to 95, they literally only built about, oh gosh, it was like maybe 1,000 a year, maybe. It wasn't much. They only put out like maybe 5,000 guitars, maybe a little, between 5,000 and 6,000 guitars, where most guitars were putting out 20,000, 15 a month. Music Man only put out like 5,000 the whole 5 years, 6,000. So they were hard to get, the Eddies. They were tough. They were hard to get. So to find them, these days you're going to have to look for the older ones, the ones that were made in the time frame, or go with the EX, which, I finally got my buddy Nesdal to get one. He fell in love with mine so much he had to get his own. I knew he was going to do it too. No, I don't need that. I said, okay, wait for it. Boom! Now he's getting one, and I'm happy for him because he's got to have one. Dave's wall does not look right without an Ernie Ball Music Man EVH guitar on there. So I'm really happy for him, and it looks like he's getting an amazing one. But I'll let him talk about that. So Eddie goes with the PV Wolfgang now. Now, to get back to the original question, yeah, the profile changes again. Now we're back to the big fat necks again. Whoa, we're back to the Frankenstrat profile. With the baseball battish, as I like to call it, feel. Bigger. I mean, not insanely different, but definitely a bigger feel, a thicker feel. Narrow, but fatter, okay? So now we're playing the Peavey Wolfgangs from 90, well, we started playing them on the end of the Balance Tour, so let's say 96. Say 96 to 2004, right? 2004 comes around, Eddie, decides he's going to come up with his own amps and his own EVH brand, and, Peavey's out the window. And he goes with the EVH guitars, and our smaller neck profile kind of comes back again, so he's tweaking a few things. Now, the sound changed in 98, though. The VH3 tour comes, and now Eddie goes back to a much more raw sound. He dials way back on the detuned stuff. Eventide harmonizer is almost non-existent. And he's still got a little bit of a chorus going, but the whole detuned, processy sound, which a lot of people don't like, it's my favorite sound, but that's kind of gone. He's back to a much more raw sound. And he's playing the 5152s. He's not using cordless units anymore. He's doing everything with a cable. It's his way of, being more in contact with, everything's connected type stuff. And then we're in the 2004 tour, which we'll skip over pretty quickly because that was, not a lot different with sound. I mean, the 5152s, and that kind of stuff, he was in the process of, giving Peavey the boot. And now we're into 2007, and we got the 5153s come out for the amplifiers, EVHs. And the sound just is starting to get a little bit more dirty, a little more crunchy. We got the red channels now, not just the green and the blue. We got a red channel, and we're still sticking with the Wolfgang profile necks. And now we get up to pretty much present day. We'll jump ahead a little bit, and Eddie's sound it's real dirty and crunchy, with his 5153s. But he's a tone chaser, and he's always changing his mind. Now he's playing the ebony necks, so there's a massive change. So as he gets older, he's just making a lot of changes. But let's go. Okay, so Haleface says, "Hey Rob, does the Music Man have a belly cut?" Well, the Music Man Axis does. Like I said, if you roll back, Haleface, you'll see we talked about all that. I went through everything with that. So if you roll back, but I will answer your question. The EVH Music Man EVH does not. The Music Man EX Japanese version does not, because Eddie never had a belly cut in his signature guitars. And some of the new EVH standards do, but Music Man and Peavey's never had belly cuts. The Axis guitars, once 96 rolled around, like I said, the last EVH guitar, Music Man, shipped out to a customer in September of 95, and then they were done. And that's when, like I said, Japan approached EVH and said, "Hey, we got all these orders over here, we got to fill. Can we open up 4 Music Man spots and small shops and start basically selling stuff if you supply us with the parts and the hardware, and once we run out of wood, we'll start doing everything exactly like you guys did." And that's when they opened up those 4 shops and started building Music Man Eddie Van Halen guitars again from 96 to, I think, 2004 was when they stopped making the EX. And all they did was they just called it the EX, but it's exactly the same thing. So, but yeah, there's no belly cuts on the Van Halen style Music Mans, actually, or any of the signature guitars, other than the newer standards they're making for EVH. They're starting to have some of those now. And I personally like it. I mean, it feels more like a Strat to me, and I love the feel of a Strat. I mean, a Strat is the most comfortable guitar for me to play, hands down. That's just my preference. But so I'd like to give a little shout out to my buddy Dave Nesdal. He's been putting some really cool stuff up on Facebook with his new Fair Warning guitars, and I just did a Fair Warning guitar show a few weeks ago. You can check it out on my channel here. But Dave's, for those of you guys that don't know, Dave just acquired a new Unchained Circles guitar by See You Later guitar, and it's a Chris Lock body, 2-inch thick mahogany body like the original was. It's a Chris Lock neck, which I have one of Chris Lock's necks for my Star guitar, and I'm just blown away. And Dave is telling me it's like the best neck he's ever felt in his life. So any of you guys that are looking for some necks out there, man, Chris has got it dialed in. Lock custom guitars, not just bodies, man. His necks are just incredible. So it might be something you might want to check out sometime if you're building a guitar. And Nick Amendolara, our good friend Nick, the kid, did the paint job on it and just freaking nailed it. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen pictures of it. But I'll probably get down to see Dave here in the next few weeks and get to check it out. Dave's Old Circles guitar is now mine, and it's the best one I've ever had. I love it. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It was kind of one of those deals where I was talking to Dave one time, and I was like, hey, we got to get you I want this Circles guitar. And Dave's like, all right, tell you what. He's like, get me a 2-inch thick body, man, and we'll get it set up. So we took care of it. But Dave's got a new guitar, and he's got a couple new ones, but the Circles guitar, since we're talking about Van Halen, looks amazing, and I can't wait to play it. 7/8, what's going on, Jay? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we've been doing some cool guitar talk here, having some stogies and magic in a cup. Oh, here comes the 5-0. They're coming to get me, man. They're coming to get me. Wait, I am a cop. What the hell are they talking about? Let's see. Alan Ford, Rob, does anyone of you guys that do EVH stuff on YouTube actually, by fact, know if he watches any of this, any info about this? I imagine you're talking about Eddie Van Halen. I don't necessarily think he's probably seen my show, because I'm really not anybody but other than just a massive fan like all you guys are. And plus I haven't been doing my show very long. I do think he's seen Johnny's show. I'm actually pretty sure he has, with Jay and Dave and Johnny and myself when I was on there, and I'm still on sometimes. So I do think he's seen that show a few times. I'm sure I know he knows about Eric Broadbent's show. I know he knows about probably Tone Talk show. Steve from Boston, maybe not, because Steve doesn't really dedicate his talking about EVH. He'll talk about EVH, but he's more of a guitar guy. But there's so many people's shows out there these days. Ben Coombs, he's got show out there, a really good show. I mean, all these guys are doing these shows today, and they're pretty cool. I think it would be fair to say Eddie definitely knows there's a lot of these shows going on. And I'm sure a lot of Eddie's camp checks this stuff out once in a while from time to time to see what people are talking about, to see what they're saying, what's going on. Does Eddie actually sit down and watch it? I don't know, maybe if he's bored, but Eddie's not the kind of guy that ever sits around listening to his music or watching people talk about him. He's usually in a studio recording or doing stuff, Yeah, I would love it if Eddie would watch my show once or twice and see some of the stuff that I've collected over the years. Fucking dudes cost me a lot of fucking money, and I want it back. No, I'm just joking. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a good ride, man. It's been a lot of fun. But I'm sure he's aware of it, but who knows? It'd be awesome to see him come on and check some of them out sometime, though. It'd be a pleasure and an honor. Dave Nesdal is the man. Well, don't make him feel that good, Alan. We don't want his head to get too big. He won't be able to fit out the door. Dave's a great guy, and he's got some awesome guitars, and he's an amazing friend. And he's not only that. He's wind's blowing here. My umbrella all over the place, moving my phone. He's also an amazing guitar setup guy. He really is. He knows how to set a guitar up better than pretty much almost anybody I know. And he likes it like me. He likes the same action, nice low action and all that. Let's see. Simon, yeah. So we talked a little bit about the signature guitars and the specs, and specifically about the EX, a little bit of Eddie's sound. My white and black Frankie has a lock neck, and it's incredible. Yeah, I played yours, Jimmy. Matter of fact, I tried to con you into doing a trade with me when I was out there. I was going to give you my Kramer ad, Frankie. Now I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I kept it. But yeah, Nick does amazing work, and Chris Locke's necks are amazing. And I'm not trying to slam anybody else. We got, Musicraft necks out there. We got Butala necks out there. These companies are putting out some amazing stuff. And what I'm going to say is, I remember getting into this stuff years and years ago. 25 years ago was when I built my first Van Halen guitar. And I scoured the dial-up internet. You'd get on the internet and it's dial-up, and you'd get on eBay or whatever. You could not find a maple hockey stick neck. They were freaking impossible. So the only way we could build the Kramer 5150s were, you'd have to wait for a Kramer Focus or a Pacer or a Beretta or whatever to show up in the guitar shop. And the used guitar shop with a rosewood neck, and you'd buy it. And you'd take it home, you'd stripe it, and it was awesome. It was great. But it was so hard to find those maple necks. You couldn't do it. You could make a Frankenstrat pretty easy, and I made millions of them back, a lot of them back in those days, because they were just a Strat headstock, Even if they said Fender or something else on them, you just sand that off. It wasn't a big deal. But it was so hard to do 5150s and striped Kramers. But I think Musicraft came around, and Ed Roman and all these other people started coming up, and now, everything is at our fingertips. Everything's at our fingertips. We got Musicraft, we got Chris Locke, we got Butala. We can even get custom neck plates made, with the right serial numbers on it, frets on the net. They make custom, what the heck is his name? I forget his name. It doesn't matter. I'll find it. But frets on the net. He's a great guy. He's doing the custom neck plates with the right serial numbers. We got Jim Francis making original whale tails, or original whale tail style Floyds. And custom. All this custom stuff is what I'm saying. You can literally build a replica now, exactly like the real one, and have use the same paint and everything. And if you have someone, like Chris or Nick do the paint job, it doesn't get any better than that. I'll do it myself too, but like I said, these guys are doing better work than I've ever done over the years. But there's a lot more resources out there. Like Scott Smith and I were talking, and back when we started doing this stuff 25 years ago, painting these guitars, we had Circus magazines. We didn't have the Young Guitar mags or the Player mags because they were so much harder to get. We didn't even know what half of the backs of the guitars looked like. And as far as the fronts were concerned, we could get a pretty good idea. You get guitar magazines and Circus magazines, but there just wasn't that much information on that. So we were doing the best we could with what we had, and now everything has just completely changed. Literally at the snap of your fingers, you can get whatever you want. But just kind of, it's kind of cool. It's definitely interesting. Acquiring these things is a lot more possible now than it used to be. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Guitar collector, yeah. But I just gotta say, Ian Dave just says, they all make great stuff, but Locke stuff is amazing. It is. And like I said, I haven't played Dave's. Oops, hold on a second. I haven't played Dave's New Circles guitar yet, but I will say that I know what he's talking about, because my star neck that Chris made is just amazing. It's phenomenal. It really is. But yeah, so like I said, when we first started talking about it, I think my Van Halen guitar days, building days, are kind of coming to an end. I'm not saying, we'll keep doing the shows, and I love playing them, as much as I can, and they're still my favorite thing to do. But as far as building any more of them, I don't know. I just don't really, pretty much, I have all the ones that I want right now, and it's taken me 24, almost 25 years to get the collection that I have now. Repainting them and selling, giving them away, I should say, and acquiring new ones and this and that, and building them. It's taken a long time to get where I am now. And I don't really want to get rid of anything I have now. I will if I had to, but I just don't really see anything else EVH-wise worth building. You know, the Kramers and stuff like that. I think maybe, like I said, maybe a Snake Dragon sometime, because I do think that's a cool guitar. But I don't know. Let's see. Hey Rob, I have to thank you and Dave and Johnny for my guitar collection. You guys were the inspiration. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure your wife is not happy with us for destroying your checkbook savings account, but if you're married, no problem, man. You know, like I said, when I got into it, there was a few guys out there like Jerry Leica and Scott Smith and Richard Armstrong. This is a name you guys probably haven't heard of. He was another big one. Those guys were my inspiration, and today, you guys, Guitar Collector and everybody else in there, you know, you guys are our inspiration for continuing to want to do this stuff because you guys think it's so cool, you know. She is not. Okay, good. That was a joke anyways, but like I said, if somebody asked me the other day, what would you tell Eddie Van Halen if you ever saw him? And of course I'm joking, but you know, everybody's always like, oh, you know, you're amazing, thank you so much, I appreciate it, you were the anthem of my childhood, whatever. And I was like, what would I say to him? I'd probably shake his hand and say, hey asshole, you fucking owe me like $15,000, 20 grand, that's what you've cost me in the last 25 years. No, I'm just joking, but it's all good. Aw, Ellie, I'm so flattered. You're such a sweet little kid. Oh, what a nice little girl. Jay, you and Jeannie did a great job raising that kid. Keep it up, because she's got a good set of eyes on her. Tell her she is adorable too. She reminds me of Molly when she was that young. She's a little sweetie. She's a little sweetie. You're gonna have your hands full in a few years, dude. I'm already starting to go through with it. Molly just turned 15, and oh boy, I don't know if I'm ready for this, so keep a leash on it. Yeah, and the blonde hair, I'm about had it with this crap. Ugh. It's okay, I don't mind it that much. It's time for a change, though. But, ask her where her mask is. She's gonna put her Jason mask on. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, so I figured, like I said, we'll do the Frankie video next, now that I got my Frankenstein back from Nick. And I'm gonna pull, I need about a day or 2 days to pull a bunch of pictures and magazine pieces so I can show you guys some stuff. Just talking about it is fine, but it's kind of nice to back some of it up with photographs so we know what we're talking about. And it like I said, I like the 5150. I think the Frankenstein deserves its own show because it's just such a iconic guitar, and it would be kind of fun to talk about it from the earliest pictures that we know of it right up and through today with it sitting in the Met in New York, you know. Be pretty neat. You know, the Frankenstein's a great guitar. It really is. It really is. And it's amazing talking to the folks that have seen it now since it's been at the Met. I have not seen it yet, but like I said, I'm going to get out there as soon as I can and check it out. But the thing that everybody has told me that has seen it is, it's kind of interesting. They all say, man, it looks so much different than it did, you know, than it does in the magazine articles. The color, the red is a little bit different, you know, and like I said, that's to be expected. I know when I saw the 5150 up close back in 2004, I was like 5 feet away from Eddie, and I saw the real 5150, like right up close. And some of it's, you know, just fantasy, or like, whoa, there it is, because that's my favorite Van Halen guitar, always has been. But even then, it just looked a little different, you know, and I can imagine. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool. Be cleaning your gun when your daughter's dates come over. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, my daughter lives with my ex, so, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, no, my daughter comes over a lot, so. She's a pretty smart kid. One nice thing about her, my daughter, is she's been into horses for all these years. So the nice thing about horses is they keep boys away. And I know what kind of a boy I still am at 45 years old, so. But, So what other kind of shows would you guys like to see on guitars? Any other particular guitar? See, we've done fair warning guitars, we've done diver down guitars, we've done 5150.
Hold on a second here. I'm gonna go sideways for a second, guys. Oh, what the hell? There we go.
Jay, I'll check you out in a minute. I tried to just change it, but I just messed my whole phone up, so. We talked about the balance sound. We talked about the music. Well, actually, no, I don't think we did a Music Man show, did we? Ben Coombs, we were just talking about you a minute ago. In a good way, Talking about your show. Good to see you, my man. Yeah, this is just a real informal hangout. Just such a beautiful day. I was just sitting out here, and I'm like, it'd be kind of fun to just get on and chat. But don't have any guitars to talk about. But like I was saying a minute ago, Ben, tune in because we're going to be doing a Frankenstein show, going through the history of the Frankie, on the changes and the necks and the paint jobs and the bodies and some cool stuff. And I'll have my new one that I just got back. Yeah, that's awesome, man. But yeah, I was thinking maybe we could do a show on actually the Music Man guitars. We could talk about that. We could talk about the 90 to 95 phase, and show some pictures of some of the different ones. A lot of people don't realize Eddie actually had two 5150 Music Man guitars. One of them was the main one, the Amber Flame Top, which in 1993 he put the first 5150 stickers on, but those were either black paint or they were real like some kind of paper decal because they chewed off. So if you see, or they started to chip off. So if you see pictures at the end of the 93 tour, you can see the 5150, but just barely, like there's little pieces of it. So it tells me that it was either paint or, like I said, some real crappy vinyl paper kind of decal-y type things. And then he put the stickers on, like the Office Max ones that we use now for our replicas. Pretty much the same exact thing, and those have been on there ever since. But sometime around, I think it was in 93, he started using this Amber Flame Top Music Man too, which is kind of cool. I have pictures of him with that in 93. And then in 95, he put 5150 stickers on that one too. And if you watch the Balance Toronto 95 pay-per-view show, pretty much most of the whole entire show, he plays that Amber Flame Top one, his number 2 5150 Music Man. And he's got a piece of black tape over the Music Man logo, because he was at the point where he was pretty much signing the deal with Peavey, and he didn't want to be endorsing Music Man anymore. What's kind of cool. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that he actually had two 5150 Music Mans. And actually on the 5150 Amber one, he's got a little number 1 up on the side of the headstock and then a number 1 on the side of the basswood black body. And I didn't even see those pictures until maybe a year or so ago, so I just ended up doing that to mine. I put the little number 1s on. And I believe that the Amber Flame Top one that he had, I don't know if he still has that one or not. Maybe he gave that one away. I don't know. I think he had a number 2 on that one, on the headstock and the body. But if you look at some recent pictures of 5150, the studio, you can still see the original Amber Music Man, 5150 Music Man hanging there. And because that was just one of his favorite guitars. It's kind of interesting. If you look at that, and we've been talking about this a lot over the last few years, but the Frankenstein, well, the Frankenstein's in the Met now, but before it went to the Met, the Frankenstein, the Kramer 5150, the original Ernie Ball Music Man Amber prototype 5150 guitar, quilt top, and his Tobacco Peavey standard 5150 with the silver mailbox 5150 stickers on it, those are still hanging right there at 5150, and it's Shark Destroyer, of course, but I'm kind of more or less talking about the signature guitars, and of the Stealth and the Tour Relic. So it kind of tells me that he still keeps those guitars at arm's length, specifically that Music Man, because why is that Music Man hanging there, man? You know, he's got a garage level upstairs with thousands of guitars. And in the studio, he's pretty much, you would think he only has the guitars that he plays once in a while. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm all wrong, but my guess is the guitars that he still has hanging right there at arm's length are because he still picks them up once in a while. So I think that's pretty cool. But I think it goes to show that he has a special appreciation for those guitars. And what I find interesting too is, like I said, that PV Wolfgang, the Tobacco one, you know, that he played in the 98 tour, the 2004 tour with the 5150 silver mailbox stickers. That's still hanging there. He didn't give it away. You know, I should say, you know, sold it or auctioned it or whatever. I mean, the purple one was gone, the green one was gone, all that. Thank you, Ben. I'm so glad you chose me. Had an early start to be on Fender Guru's channel. Nice. A nice talk with Fender rep last week about building the Shark tribute. Oh, very cool. Awesome. I would love to hear about that. Actually, Ben, you and I were both at NAMM, and I don't know what, I'd be interested to hear what he had to say. But I don't know if you had a chance to talk to Matt Brown when we were out at EVH, but I had a pretty long conversation with him. I think Johnny and I were both there, and he was telling us exactly what went into building that Shark Tribute 2 and having the real one there and nailing the paint job and you know, the turnbuckles being all jiggly and loose, you know. It was kind of cool listening to what he had to say too. But yeah, I'm sure the Fender rep had some cool stuff to say as well. So what else we got, guys? We've been going for about, let's see, how long have we been on? I think it's been over an hour. But I guess we can call it here in a minute, unless you guys got anything else. Like I said, I was just going to go live for a few minutes. I don't have any guitars or anything handy, but I do appreciate you guys jumping on, watching. It's always fun. Like I said, I think my next show is going to be within a few days, probably within the next 4 or 5 days. I'll try to do it in the, see, I don't know necessarily when everybody likes, you know, when they're most available, if it's the evenings or the, you know, the daytime. I'm kind of all over the place because I'm working all kinds of crazy hours now, but I'll try to do one in the, like the late afternoon, early evening, so you guys can check it out. But then again, you guys can always check it out too. Oh, you didn't get to talk to Matt? Yeah, I'll tell you, Ben, he was, man, you and I need to have a conversation sometime about that, because he laid into some really awesome information about sitting there with a real Shark, talking to Eddie about it and like what they wanted to do, and what Eddie's reaction was when you know, when he showed it to him. It was pretty cool. I won't get into it on, you know, online stream, but I mean, yeah, we have a conversation about it. But yeah, he's a really cool guy, real down to earth, real cool. Liked him a lot. It's funny, I will say one thing. And it's funny because Dave and I, and specifically Dave and I, have been talking about this for a while. Matt said to me, he goes, it's kind of funny. He goes, every time we build a Van Halen tribute guitar, or let me rephrase that. Every time we build a Van Halen Stripe Series guitar, an official Jack, man, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Keep watching too, because we're gonna up the ante and have some more cool stuff on here. Because I got a lot of interesting stuff to show and hopefully talk about. But thank you. Matt told me, he goes, when we first started cranking these things out, from the Circles guitar to the the Stripe Series and the B and the Shark, and well, not the Shark as much, but the 5150 and the Star. He said every time we'd put it out, he said people would be like, oh man, they didn't get that right, or they didn't get that right, or that's not right, or that, the headstock shape's wrong, or that stripe was not supposed to be right there. And it's funny because Matt kind of chuckled And he goes, they're right. They're not exact replicas. They're tribute guitars. And I know I kind of felt the same way when I first saw a couple of them come out. I will say the Circles was pretty close. There's a few little things they missed, a couple little black pieces and some splooge and, you know, whatever. But for the most part, I thought they did a really cool job on it. And the tadpoles were a little bit off and whatever. And the 5150's pretty close, and, you know, but you got people basically saying, oh, you know, they didn't get the overspray here, and that's not right, and there's a stripe here. And the Star was probably the one that was the furthest off, I thought, from the original. But like Matt said, he said, you know, he actually said, you know, we probably could have got the striping pattern a little bit closer, but he said the main thing was when we did these guitars, all the Stripe series guitars, he said they were to be tribute guitars. They were not to be exact replicas. So guys like us that are out here building, you know, same kind of wood, same kind of body thickness, headstock design, you know, shaved down on the back of the neck, headstock a little bit, so we do that. Same tuner, same this, you know, every little nook and ding and dent and scratch and piece of overspray, whatever it is, we're trying to nail that because we think that's cool. And I think EVH does too. But their goal was not to make an exact identical replica with all the so-called flaws or whatever you want to call it with a paint job. They wanted to make a nice shiny looking tribute guitar that was freaking damn close to the real one, because that's probably what's going to sell more. You know, they got to look at the big picture. There's a lot more people out there that would buy that kind of guitar than people like myself or Dave or, you know, whatever that like them exactly like that. So that's basically the reason why they were kind of like that, and they didn't go all out. Now when they do like a $25,000 Frankenstein replica, you know, yeah, they try to come closer, as they should, because it's a lot of money. Or they do the 78, you know, one or whatever. Yeah, they try to pretty much nail everything. But the tribute guitars are nothing more than tribute guitars. That's what the Stripe series are, and that's why they're not exact. But for most people, they're cool with that. Let's see, Mark Blankenship built. Yeah, Mark's a great guy. He's been cranking out some really nice replicas. He's been doing some cool paint jobs. He really is. Helicopter crash in Manhattan. No, I didn't, Teddy. First off, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. But no, I didn't. Oh, wow. Huh. At some point, I'll have a Stripe guitar. Just no clue which one. I know they're so hard to choose from. I guess if I had to pick one, if I didn't have all the stuff I have and I had to pick one, I'd go with the 5150. You know, that's just me. But then again, I can see that the VH1 one is pretty cool too. The Shark guitar, yep. Oh, have him build an 84. Yeah, he does good work on those. Face, yeah, if they wanted them exact, they would be. Exactly. You're right. They just, you know, I mean, I will say on the Circles guitar, they did a pretty good job on the back. By See You Later. That came out pretty cool. But I'm kind of surprised they actually were so far off on the Star guitar. They were really far off on that one. With the stripes on the side, and I mean, who knows? I mean, you know, we don't know why, but they're all cool. They're definitely cool. But Frankie, since that's what it all started with, yeah, you know what? I tell you, Ben, yeah, are you talking about the red, white, and black stripe Frankie without the pick guard, or are you talking about the black and white one with a black pick guard? Yeah, they are, Teddy. That's another thing. They're a lot wider than they were supposed to be, for sure, yeah. The only thing I really wished, I noticed that right away, you're right. The only thing I kind of wish they nailed was the stripe on the side of the body. They didn't even get that, or on the top side of the body. That's the one that just kind of stands out to me the most. They just didn't even include that, but that's okay, it's whatever, you know. That's why I went and got rid of mine and did a custom one again. Yeah, the white and black. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Ben. I don't know if you've seen my I'll show it to you when I do the Frankie video, but on my black and white one, I don't know if you realize this, but mine is an EVH Stripe Series guitar. And I tweaked out the EVH Floyd. I put, you know, titanium blocks in it, stainless screws, to make it look a little bit more like an original, to take the black screws out of it, to make it look more kind of nickel chrome, like a Strat bridge would be. I put the little stud on the end of the Floyd bar so it looked like a Strat bar. I put a Mark Blankenship Relic pickguard on it. I scuffed the body up a little bit, reliced it, fixed a couple little black stripes, sanded off the logo off the headstock, put a Gibson logo on it with a gold nut, because it was a brass nut, so I put a gold nut on it, and I added the D-shaped Schaller drop tabs for tuners, and in a Gibson, I think I said a Gibson logo, and I basically just geeked out on it and made it about as close to the real one as I could. And I love that guitar now. It's an EVH Stripe Series, and I took the neck plate off and flipped it upside down, and stamped in the 61071, I think is what it was. So it's kind of funny, but so you can have fun with it. You can have fun with it. I love the Star, but they aren't the most practical or comfortable to play because of the. You know what's funny, Teddy? I know I love the look of it, and I love playing mine. But for some reason, when I get up high, I can't get my friggin' wrist in it. It's banging on the wood. It's weird. I know. It's hard to play up high on the neck on that. Yeah, for sure. John Parsons, is that the same as the 5150 model? Which one are you talking about, John? Oh, he's probably talking about the red, white, and black. No, if you're referring to Ben Coombs' comment, John, I think he's talking about the red, white, and black striped series guitar that had the striping pattern of the Frankenstrat with a one humbucker pickup. The 5150 is a different one. Yeah. But what you can always do, you can also, Ben, you can buy the red, white, and black striped Frankie, cut a pick guard, just chop it off, and then just, you know, stick it over the volume knob and have it do that. I mean, it wouldn't be doing anything other than just for looks, but it would look a little bit cooler, I think, and then just throw a white knob on it. I love my black and white. I think it does have white knob. I love my black and white Frankenstrat replica. It's also pleasant to play. I'm not a big fan of Floyd Rose. It doesn't have to rock it. Yeah, and JR, good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping in. You know, sometimes I get sick of the Floyd too. I was actually just playing my regular Strat the other day, my Mexican Strat that Craig CRS Customs did. He scalped the neck out and basically turned it into a Yngwie guitar. Sometimes I'm just kind of Floyded out. You know, I mean, I love the Floyd Rose. Don't be wrong. I mean, if you ever see my videos, when I'm just, you know, get on and dub around on Instagram or whatever, I'm always abusing that freaking bar because I love the squeals and the harmonics, and you know, I just love doing that. It's part of my playing, I guess, because I just love the Van Halen sound so much. But you're right. Sometimes it's like, man, I think playing a guitar without a bar, specifically a Floyd, probably makes you a better guitarist. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it kind of forces you to learn how to bend the notes a little bit more. It probably forces, I should say force, but you have to learn, you have to play better. You have to play better to make some of the sounds that you would normally be making if you were going to use a whammy bar. You got to be able to bend those notes. So sometimes it's kind of fun to play a guitar without a bar. You know, it puts me in a different mode. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to jump. I'm going to bounce here, and I just want to say thank you guys for jumping on. I really appreciate it. It's great to see some new names on here, man. It really is, and this was just like supposed to be a 10-minute, hey, howdy doody, you know, and we turned into just a bit of an over an hour of show, but it was kind of fun chatting with you guys. So thank you very much. If you just jumped in, we did actually have some pretty good conversation, answered some questions on Axis EX Music Mans and a whole bunch of different guitars. And so scroll back, and if you want to check out any of my other videos, the last one I did was the Diver Down Tour guitars. And stand by, because within the next few days I'm going to be doing a specific Frankenstein show, and we're going to go through everything I can possibly think of on that guitar. So absolutely, we'll have some fun. Ben Coombs, yeah, thanks, bro. Hope to see you tonight when I'm up. Yeah, I'll see if I can jump on, my man. See if I can jump on. Thanks, Leon. Hold on, we got one more question here from Al. Rob talking about strats. What wood combination and pickups would you recommend for a fatter sounding SS? You mean like a super strat? What combination pickup? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what I think, only because and this is just my opinion, Alan. Okay, I'm going to tell you what. Here's what I would do if you're looking for Alan Ford, a regular. Okay, just like a 3 pickup single coil. Is that what you're talking about? You're not talking about a super like a humbucker, right? Are you looking for okay? I personally like I like either mahogany or I like basswood. I mean maple's good too. Poplar's okay. I mean they're all okay, but I like the sound of the basswood. It's a little bit bassy, and you're talking about so it's not quite so trebly. A basswood body, in my opinion, is going to give you a little bit. I don't want to use the word darker, but a little meatier sound. It's going to give should be a little beefier. All right. If you're building a Strat, I would suggest the basswood body. As far as pickups are concerned, I've always been partial to the Duncans. I like the Duncans. Duncans are great pickups. Bridge, I would stick with if you could pick up a vintage Strat bridge, that will give you some nice tone. I also like bone nuts or a brass nut. The plastic ones are kind of, I don't know. I've always really liked the bone nut. Tuners, I prefer Schallers or the Fender tuners. Gattos are fine too. As far as neck's concerned, I think you're going to get a meatier sound with a rosewood neck. Or, even an ebony if you wanted. Maple's great. I love maple necks, but I think a combination of a rosewood neck with a basswood body, and you can do whatever you want for pickups. You can do the Fenders, but I like the Duncans. I really do. And that's what I would do. Hey, Sage, Charlie, how you doing, man? You guys just jumped in. We're just about to jump off, but if you guys could roll back, we've had a pretty good show. We've been on for about an hour. Yeah, I agree. Ben, I said brass because I like some of the brass stuff, but you're right. And I think I'm going to side with, I'm going to jump on Ben with that one. The bone nut, stay away from the brass. If you're looking to stay, the brass nut very well could offset your basswood body and your rosewood neck and make it a little too trebly. I agree with Ben on that. Stick with the bone nut. And I think I did say bone because I love the bone nuts, but the brass nut maybe, Yeah, I agree. Ben's right on that one. Yeah, catch the replay, Sage and Simon, everybody for jumping in. I really appreciate it. Roll back and stand by, guys, for the Frankenstein show I'm going to be doing. It's going to be fun. I keep saying that. But Sage, thanks for jumping in, man. Roll back. Hey, Pal Guitars. We're just getting ready to jump off, but roll back and stay cool, guys. I really want to say thank you so much for watching the show. More cool stuff to come. I hate jumping off when you guys are just jumping in. I really do, but I do have to run. So roll back. Thank you for your support. Like I said, this was supposed to just be just a quick, hey, what's up? And a bunch of people jumped in. Sage's the bone is a bitch to file on. Yeah, you got to have some strong files there. If you could bring, Alan, if you can bring that guitar to a luthier and have it set up, they'll be able to file your bone nut down if you want to go with that. The nut shouldn't make a huge difference. If you want to use just a regular nut, you can't find the bone one. But I would stick with the basswood body. I would stick with the rosewood neck primarily, and try to get some pickups that are a little bit hotter. All right, and that's going to give you the sound you're looking for. But hey, guys, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. See you guys soon. Hang in there. We're going to be doing the Frankie video. I keep saying that because I hope you guys like it. Roll back, watch some of the other videos, and thank you so much